On Sunday, March 20th, President Obama arrived in Havana, Cuba, which marks the first time in 80 years that a U.S. president has set foot there. He was talking with the people of Cuba and Cuban President Raul Castro. So going forward, what does this mean not only for the United States, but for the people of Cuba? I interviewed a couple professors here at MSU and also spoke with the director of the Cuban Research Institute at Florida University. Here's what they had to say. I interviewed Donna Rich Kaplowitz, an assistant professor at Michigan State University. Here's what President Barack Obama's trip to Cuba meant to her. She says, "This is absolutely not a publicity stunt. At long last, a U.S. president has had the foresight to see that a policy we have implemented since 1961 has failed to achieve the results we intended, the overthrow of Fidel Castro. Obama's sane and accurate position of normalizing relations will yield far more progress in terms of both human and economic rights than anything his predecessors have done." Professor McGee, an international relations professor at Michigan State University, also agreed to sit down and discuss the implications of the U.S. embargo on Cuba and what he believes will happen going forward with Cuba. Here's his interview. I also got an interview with Sebastian Arcos, the director of the Cuban Research Institute at Florida University. He says the events since the announcement on December 17, 2014, of a new U.S. policy on Cuba have been closely followed by the Cuban American community. The new policy is quite controversial, but with many Cuban Americans in favor and many against. It is difficult to find a middle ground. Obviously, the topic of U.S.-Cuba relations is very important for Cuban Americans who actively participate in local and national political debate on one side or the other.